Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to connect two different CMTX HMIs. So this is popular when you want to have one remote HMI and maybe one local main HMI that acts as a client to actually read or grab the data from that remote HMI. So let me grab two units and we'll show the setup procedure. So we use a CMT2108X2 and a CMT3072 XH2 V2, but really this can be used with, or this procedure can be done with any two CMTX models. So just to begin, let's get into the programming software. So we're going to use EasyBuilder Pro and we're going to set up a project on our CMT3072 XH2. So I already have the software open, so I will select the appropriate HMI model. If you already have a project created for your 3072 XH2 or whatever HMI model you might be using and you just want to tie in that remote HMI, the process is really easy. Essentially, and I know I'm starting off as in a brand new project, but you'll want to go to the Home tab and click System Parameters. And then rather than going to, in a lot of our tutorials, we always go to New Device/Server, and then we select the appropriate device driver. Today, we're going to click on New HMI instead. And so we're going to set the IP address of the remote HMI here. So this is going to be the IP address of the remote HMI. You're going to set the IP address of your local HMI. We'll pretend this is our main HMI. It's going to act as a client to get data from this larger 10-inch unit. So we're going to set the IP address of the local HMI on this HMI in the settings menu, not right here. This is going to be the IP address of our 2108X2. So we'll just call it CMT2108X2. And I haven't set an IP on this yet, but I'll set one in just a moment. We'll just use this IP. And just to kind of help eliminate confusion and better identify what model we're selecting within our project, we're going to name this one our local HMI as well, CMT3072 XH2 V2. And so now we can see that both units are configured. And just before we actually go and start programming and trying to reference data points from this unit, let me first kind of walk through what the remote HMI setting here really allows us to do. So, because we're gonna talk about this probably in a future video as well. So, while you have a remote HMI that's set here, let's see. Yeah, remote HMI. While you have a remote HMI added to your project, you can actually select the remote HMI and click New Device/Server and add in, for an example, a remote device. You'll notice that when we added this in, I'm just going to reopen the driver settings. This says the location is remote, and it's remote coming from this IP from this HMI. So this is actually a device that would be connected to a remote HMI. You probably see where I'm going here. That means that we can use some of our, a main client HMI to read data from a remote HMI and also read data from the remote device that's connected to this HMI. Now this feature doesn't actually work with every single driver. It works with most drivers, but not all of them. So you may run into a case where you try to add a driver and then it says this driver is not compatible with the remote HMIs. There are other methods to work around this, but just so you know, that can be the case. It's not as common as you might think though. But even though we've added a remote HMI, we can still select our regular HMI here and add maybe a local PLC that we might be working with. So just so we can see the hierarchy of devices here. So we have our local HMI with underneath it is the local Modbus RTU unit. And then we have a remote HMI, and underneath that is the remote Modbus RTU unit. But because we're not going to connect remote Modbus RTU units here, I'm going to just remove this. This driver is just an example. to give you guys an idea. What I will do is we'll just go ahead and click OK. And so communicating back and forth between these devices is very simple. In our CMT3072XH project, and I'll just kind of give it a name so that you guys know what model we're working with every time I open this project up, because we're going to open projects for both units. But in this project, all we need to do to read data from this unit is to add in, like for example, a numeric object or a bit lamp. And because we have a protocol between both units, we can reference the memory in this unit just like we would with our local unit. So I can select the CMT2108X2 and we can read the LW0 value, which is just its first instance of the LW memory, the local word memory in that unit. We can do the same thing with a bit lamp. So I can select this unit and we can read LB0 in that unit as well. And I will disable allow input. And so now effectively this is kind of read-only. Yeah. Now I will download this project to our CMT3072XH2V2 and we'll see how it looks. So I've downloaded the project to this HMI and well, our server HMI is not yet powered on, so you'll see that we have the text object on here that says CMT37, it basically says the model name, but it doesn't show the UI objects for the memory that are actually addressed to this device. So it also shows a failed connection to remote HMI message, which makes complete sense because we're not actually connected to a remote HMI. This HMI here is unconnected. So now we need to probably put a project on here, or all we need to really do, honestly, is boot this HMI up. And as long as it has a blank project or any project in there, we'll be able to connect to it, just because it's going to read the internal memory of this unit. So let's see. Let's put a project on there. Get power to the unit. And the first thing I'm going to do is probably put this on the correct IP settings. So again, I'm expecting, what I set this to is I set this to the 192.168.100.1. Yeah, I set it to the 192.168.100 subnet, and it has a identifier of 1. The remote HMI in this project, I put that the IP is going to be 192.168.100.2. So I'm going to set the same IP that I've used as the remote HMI in this project on here. So let me do that. And now let's put a project on this, just a blank project. So this has no project on it, just shows the CMT viewer. Connect to this one. And so I'm going to load up another EB Pro project, and we'll configure it to the same model name as this. And probably what I'll add is I'll add a numeric object addressed to its own internal memory, and then also a toggle switch. And then we'll download this as well. Unlike in our master project or our client project, which is this 7-inch here, in our server project we actually don't need to put any drivers in. So there's no need to make any changes to the drivers. So what that means for you is that if you already have a bunch of like server HMIs out there installed and you want to put in one HMI to kind of read all of that data, typically you just need to drop in a master HMI and make sure that you have the appropriate configuration with the remote HMI devices added to the project. You don't usually need to make any changes to the server HMIs. However, within the remote tab of the system parameters, there are some settings here, like prohibit password remote read operation or prohibit remote HMI connecting to this machine. So there are some security settings that aren't enabled by default, but they may be enabled within your project. So if the server has those settings, there may be a issue perhaps with communication or reading and writing to objects. It's just something that you should be aware of as well. And then in newer CMTX models, we also have an option for secure communication. So if you use secure communication on one device, we want to make sure that in your remote HMI device, the secure communication setting is also enabled too. But again, this is just our server device. And we didn't enable secure communication on this device. So all we have to do is just download a project, a simple project. And this will pretty much do it. I'll probably go into our other project and make sure that I put the model name here, just so that when I have it open, you guys know exactly what project we're looking at. And now I will save this project. And we'll download it to our device. And then I'll connect the Ethernet cable between both units. And then we'll talk about what we should see. So, yeah. This unit has just finished, or I should say, I've just finished downloading a project to this unit. Now they both have projects, so let's go ahead and connect them. We'll disconnect our Ethernet cable here. Connect it. And we should have near instant communication. We do, actually. As soon as I connected it, within like, I don't know, 1 second, probably a little less, the objects that did not render initially on this screen just popped up. And that's very typical of communication issues. So if you don't have communication between a device, whether it's a remote HMI or a PLC that you might be connected to, or a remote HMI's PLC that you might also be communicating with, then if you can't connect to those devices, these objects, or the UI objects addressed to those, the UI objects that are addressed to that device won't display. And it's essentially to provide or to prevent giving a invalid or incorrect output or assumption of an output to an operator. So an operator doesn't see that a machine is on when it's not really on, or off when it's not really off. So instead, it's a very clear indicator when those objects are just not there, I should say. And then, of course, we display an error message because that's built into the project, unless that window is deleted by chance. So I pretty much enabled a read-only on this unit because I didn't allow input in the numeric object, and I just put just a bit lamp, so everything in here is not clickable. However, we can still update it. So if I toggle this bit here, which you can kind of see, and I'll just turn this to you guys as well so that you can see here. You can see the bit flicking on and off. And you can see our numeric object update as well. And that's really all you need to do to connect a remote HMI with a client HMI, or drop in a new client HMI to read and access data within remote HMIs. It's a very simple process. It should be relatively straightforward. However, of course, we all seem to troubleshoot communication issues when we're out there in the real world. So what are some things that we can look for to kind of help us determine why these devices might not communicate if that happens to you? So number one, and hopefully there can be some sort of list over here so you guys can see it, but number one I would say is verify the LAN 1 and LAN 2 IPs of each unit. It's really important that with our HMIs, the LAN 1 and LAN 2 IPs are on different IP subnets. So as an example, if you're using like a /24 subnet and you have an IP of 192.168.100.2 on LAN 1, then you want to have a different numbers for the first 3 octets, or a different combination of numbers for the first 3 octets for LAN 2. So LAN 2, for example, could be 10.1.10 or 192.168.0. but it should not be on the same subnet as LAN 1. And that's true for both units, and it's true for every HMI. If you have the same subnet used on both LAN ports, then it could cause some sort of communication issue. So that's the first thing you should look for. The second thing, of course, as I mentioned, is the enable secure communication. You want to make sure that when you set up the remote HMI in the client project, which is our 7-inch right here, that you follow the specification if you've enabled secure communication. We should just do that just so you guys can see. Let me download a new project on here with secure communication enabled so we can kind of see it. But that would be the second thing is making sure that if secure communication is enabled within your project. So let's do it. Let's do a download. I just want to give you guys a real world picture of what's going to happen. So, and I guess lastly, of course, we have to always consider what the networking middlemen in your application are going to do. So in this case here, I've just enabled secure communication on this device. And before we talk about the networking middleman, just real quick, now if I toggle this bit, because secure communication's on in this project and it's not equivalently on in this client project, there's no communication, even though we have both the correct LAN ports in use and everything within the actual system and the network addressing is good. It's just not going to be communication. I get the communication error message. Now, networking middleman, back to that. If you have a router or a switch in between the devices, notice I do not. If you have a router or switch in between the devices, to be honest, we always have to consider, and even if you reach out to our support team, we'll always consider if that could potentially be causing some sort of issue with communication. So the best way to help verify that is process of elimination. If you take out the networking middleman, if you connect one HMI directly to another HMI via an Ethernet cable, as long as the Ethernet cable is not broken itself, then you should be able to get communication. It's a really simple setup. And if you can't, then of course we would investigate other issues like prohibit read or different settings that could be different settings that could be set in the project. But those are rarely set, and so they're usually, it's not usually the case. It's usually just those two. I would say top two of that, which would be the IP addressing of the unit and then the secure communication. And that's pretty much it. So that's how you set up a remote HMI connection from a client HMI to a server HMI. Again, nothing really needs to be done to the server. You just have to add the remote HMI to the client project. If you have any questions or comments about this setup, if you would like to learn more about this, the applications that are possible with this setup, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment sections below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.